Hey, ¿cómo están? Soy Montaner y hace unos años me di cuenta que mi why va mucho más allá de la música. Se trata de motivar a la gente a buscar y conectar con su propósito de vida. Porque estoy convencido de que entre más personas vivamos a través de él, mejor va a ser este mundo en el que vivimos. Cuando hacemos preguntas como qué, cuándo, cómo y dónde, cualquier respuesta estará vacía sin un porqué. En este podcast tendremos conversaciones con propósito para llenarnos de herramientas, aprender juntos y construir comunidad. Esto es The Why Project. Hey familia, ¿cómo están? Bienvenidos a un nuevo episodio de The Why Project Podcast. Yo soy Mau. Este episodio va a ser en inglés, pero tranquilo, si no entiendes inglés, te voy a dejar aquí subtítulos para que puedas entender todo y no te pierdas nada. El invitado de hoy es un invitado que admiro full, es un duro. Aparte de eso, pues ha vendido millones y millones de copias de libros varias veces y tiene una expertise enorme en ayudar a la gente a usar su propio conocimiento para crear negocios inmensos. Aparte de eso, habla mucho sobre el pasado y cómo el pasado no te define y cómo usar todas esas herramientas que uno va aprendiendo a lo largo de la vida que podrían llegar a parecer como desventajas para usarlos como gasolina y salir adelante. Con ustedes, Dean Graziosi.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. You got a beautiful place here, by the way.
Thank you.
So
This
nice.
is, again, it's your home. We're extremely grateful that you're here. We've obviously known about you for a very long time. But apart from that, prior to this, I always obviously take the time to study and to make sure and talk about the things that I really am very curious about. We've created this podcast not only for people to have tools, but most importantly for me to have tools for me to learn from you.
That's always the best podcast,
Yes.
when you're genuinely interested, when you have intellectual curiosity.
Yes.
So it's a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you for coming.
And I can feel your kindness. I walked in, it felt like family in 2 minutes. That means
That's
a lot.
awesome, man.
It means a lot.
Thank you so much. Same. And I love that you came with your fam. It made me happy. Because it's so inspiring me to have you here, I think it's important that we start from the beginning. And I ask you a little bit about your childhood and about
nothing off limits.
Let's do it. Tell me about your childhood. How was that? How'd you go from your childhood to where you're at now?
You know, I think that journey, I want to share it in a way that just inspires everybody of what's possible.
Okay.
Right? Because sometimes you hear a story, it's like, yeah, great. You didn't have anything. Now you're rich. That's great. Fantastic. There's so much in between that, right? And we all experience things. And this is because this is what I do for a living now, right?
Yeah.
Tony Robbins is my partner. It's our job to look at life and see where those forks in the road. Why did I make a left and when so many of my friends might have made a right?
Yeah.
Right? Why did I take the path less traveled? Even though I didn't go to college and I didn't come from money, I didn't have great experience, great examples in front of me. And I just want to study that, not because I want to say, hey, look what I did, but more like, oh my God, if you're going through this, here's a good way to take those alternative routes.
Love that.
Right? So when I share that, I think, everybody has their story. For me, my parents were married 9 times between the two of them. I moved 20 times by the time I was 19. I'd go to school some days without lunch money when I was living with my dad. And I would just tell my friends, hey, I'm just not hungry. I'm trying to get ripped or something. I'd make something up, but my dad didn't have the dollar for lunch money that day, right? And I think as you look at this, and this is something I think is really important, each one of those moments can be the thing that held you back. Or each one of those moments could be the thing that drives you forward. And I'm not trying to oversimplify it, but I'm going to tell a simple little story that I heard ages ago. Twin boys.
Okay.
One of them is in jail and I know it's a made up story, but it's a really good analogy. And I hope this really serves you. Twin boys, one is in jail, in and out of doing drugs, in and out of trouble, is in jail. They say, and the other brother became really successful, married, happy family, doing really well with his own business. They interviewed both of them. Their father was a severe alcoholic that used to beat him. They interviewed the kid in jail, the man in jail, and said, what happened? Why are you in jail? And he said, with a father like mine, where else could my life go? And when they interviewed the successful brother, he said, with a father like mine, what else could I do?
Is how he decided to...
Just, I'm here with my daughter. I have 4 children. I'm married, feel blessed, married to the love of my life. And I watched so much dysfunction that I just decided God gave me an example of what not to do.
Yeah.
And I could use that as fuel or I could use that as an anchor. And so I'm not going through the whole story. I'm just sharing wherever you are. I promise you, I've been at that level. I thought to myself, success is for other people. It'd be great, but how do you get momentum when you don't have any money? You don't have connections. You didn't go to college. Nobody knows your name. There was a part of me that said, stop being a dreamer. Come on. If you get a good job and you can pay the bills like your parents can't, you're doing good. And then there was this other part that lives inside all of us. It's like, BS, you're meant for more. You could do more. You could be more. You could impact lives. And the truth of the matter is, which one's more rational? The one that says, come on, you didn't come from anything. What are you going to do to get to that side, to go from where you are to be successful? That voice is louder. And if I'm here today for no other reason, just to say that voice isn't right. That voice has already cost you too much. That voice has already had you held back. That voice has already robbed your confidence enough where you're almost ready. It's like a surfer waiting for the big wave. And you're like, I should. And then sometimes you're like, okay, I'm going to get this wave, and you miss it.
Yeah.
And if anything, I'm here today to say, I'd rather get to the end of my life and be the crazy one that tried it and didn't work.
Love that.
Than just letting that voice that's already cost you too much play it safe.
I love hearing that. When was that moment that you said, let me not listen to that voice? Or what was that changed in you? Like what
really
happened?
Great. I think when you get older and you ask that question, like, I think you're waiting for this moment. And I want everybody to hear this. Like, one day you opened a book and it went,
see,
and
true.
sun came out. An angel rose above and said, my son, this is your life. This is your path.
Yeah.
Your past can be your past can be the wind behind you. It's like, it's
for
not
sure.
that.
It's not.
These little cumulative moments.
Yeah.
Like, I think whatever your beliefs are, God, the universe, I'm not here to share what your beliefs are, but I think God or whatever you believe puts these little signs in front of you and you get the opportunity to pick them up. So you asked me that question. I'll tell you what first came to my mind. My mom and dad split when I was 3, and I watched my mom work 3 jobs. And she was like a laborer. She cleaned houses, painted houses, and cut hair. Yeah. She'd come home 9:00 every night, tired. My sister and I, at a young age, we were already doing the laundry. We were cooking. We were taking care of and we had empathy for my mom. She never complained. To this day, my mom's still alive. But I share that. That was one moment. Because I remember thinking, and I don't remember now if I was 8, 11, or 13. But I remember a moment saying, I'm getting rich because I'm going to take care of this woman. I'm going to retire this woman. And I remember telling people that. I'm like, we don't get rich. That's not where we come from. I'm like, I'm not going to look at statistics. I'm not going to Google how many people make it and they don't. Those numbers look horrible. I'm just going to do whatever it takes to get there because my mom deserves it. And I think if you can use these different leverage points, is I started my first business at 16 years old, cutting down trees and selling firewood, and then used to fix wrecked cars and sell them. And then I bought a tow truck. Then I started building houses, and but each step was driven by this cumulative thing of not watching my mom struggle.
Yeah.
And then I remember thinking, and maybe these are just giving you examples of things you can look at. Then I remember thinking, my mom can't really make decisions because of money. She can't come to my baseball game. It's not because she doesn't love me. She's got to go work so she can put food on our table. And I remember thinking, I don't know what age this was. I remember thinking lack of money runs my mom's whole life. Right?
Yeah, it's like in control of it.
Yeah, think about it. When did you think about the oxygen in this room? Did you think about?
No,
you didn't think about it. But if someone grabbed your throat, what would be the only thing you're thinking of?
I need to breathe. I need to
breathe,
oxygen,
right?
Yeah.
If you get money out of the way, I know this sounds like, come on, tell me how. We're going to talk about that. But if you got money out of the way and it's abundant and you can breathe, you start to fix the things that maybe your dad didn't tell you loved you when you were a kid.
Oof.
Maybe, your parents split. And when money is not the thing my mom never had the chance to work on herself. It's probably why she was married 5 times. Because she was just so busy, choked by money.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking that, I'm like, I'm getting money out of the way. I don't care. I don't care what it takes. And here's what I want to tell you. Hunger will outdo intelligence. Hunger will outdo the perfect plan. I'd rather give a B opportunity to a hungry person than an A opportunity to a smart person without drive. Right? So that hunger of wanting to take care of my mom, and by the way, just if that's something that would excite you, at 26 years old, when I was 26, I retired my mom. And I've been sending her a check every week for 30 years. This year, it'd be 30 years. Buy her a new car every 2 years, bought the house she lives in.
That is so inspiring, man.
And
that's technically 10 years after you started your first business.
yes.
Which 10 years is a lot, but
Yeah, and people think,
but it's not a lot
You
to
know-
retire someone, you know?
Tony says this a lot, and I'll reference him because he's my partner, dearest friend. We get to do fun things
I love
together.
him.
But he always says, we always overestimate what we can do in a year
Mhm.
and underestimate what you can do in 10. And why that's so important is because so many people feel like I do. They want to take care of their family. They want to make sure their kids are okay when they
It's
leave.
true.
But they put 6 months in and go, this isn't working. And they go back to something they hate. It takes time. Like when you see Instagram and social is fantastic, and simultaneously it makes it look like everybody got successful overnight,
It's true.
right? And then you see it and you're like, how come I'm not there yet? It's like time. Follow the path. It's worth it.
You've just let go of so many gems right now that I want to make sure that I
pick up
capture
anything
them.
you want.
All right,
And
so
if my ADD comes in, just reel me back in.
I'll try to navigate this as best as I can because there's so much that you mentioned that I loved. One of them, starting with the fact that you were speaking about how you turned into fuel. You turned your disadvantages into fuel. You know, you turned that what seemed to be pain, what seemed to be what was gonna, in theory,
Stop you.
lead you to a road that wasn't gonna amount to much.
Yep.
You decided to make that change. What if you could give some type of advice or tip or practical tool to the people that are listening to us on what you think those decisions that you thought your mom could make and that you made are important for people to make them when they're living something like you lived? Like, what are those decisions that you think people have to make?
Okay, this is a good one. This is good. So if you think about this, and it doesn't help you immediately, and I didn't think about this when I was going through struggles, and believe me, I failed more than most of you here. I had more self-doubt than most people here. I have a loud inner voice. We all have that voice on the inside. I have a loud inner voice that says, you're not that smart. You didn't come from money. Why would that work for you?
Mhm.
It's been there. It still lives there.
Yeah.
I just learned how to shut them up
Wow.
because it's never helped my life. But when I look back, what I think can help is if you label stuff. Now, this is just me. I have crazy thought processes.
Mhm.
But what if all the stuff you went through was actually designed for you for a bigger reason? And I've used this word that somebody told me about 20 years ago. What if you were actually paying your success tax, your happiness tax? Like anything in life. I love what you do with music. I got to geek out on what you've done in your evolution. Amazing what you've accomplished.
man.
And this is great that you're doing this. But it was a journey.
It was
There was times you thought about quitting, right?
1,000%, many
Right.
times.
Times you maybe compared yourself to your dad. True?
So much.
Right? I just need to do something completely different because I want to be in his shadow. I'm just making stuff up,
Yeah.
right? But you didn't. And I believe, what if God, the universe, whatever you believe, has a checklist,
Mhm.
and there's 20 things that you have to check off paying your success tax before you get the huge breakthrough where you impact lives, change the world.
Yeah.
And you don't know how many. Maybe you have to go through 20. Maybe I have to go through 30. Maybe one of the guys here has to go through 3.
Yeah.
Right? But what if, he's been thinking a lot about, because his dad's in this, I'm making this up.
Yeah.
And he's thinking about quitting, but he still got up and did it. Didn't have the money for the studio, but found the money. Even though somebody let him down and the builder took their down payment, he still got up and he's doing it himself. Check. And what if you look at it and go, the situation I'm going through sucks.
Yeah.
I hate that somebody left me. My partner took the money. My parents don't believe in me. It's really hard. The first advertising campaign failed. What if you just thought, this doesn't feel good? But what if I'm checking another box of how many of the success tax I got to pay? And what I always say is, what if there's an absolute number? Like, I got to get through 17 self-doubt and failures. Number 18, I got chills talking about it.
Yeah.
Number 18 is my turn. When you look at it differently, you go, this one sucks, but that's number 7.
Let's go.
I'm closer.
Yeah.
Right. And I realized as a kid that I found a way to do that. And I wasn't a study of anybody. I just got lucky in that way where I was like, this stinks, but what if it's building my character? What if it's making me stronger? And aren't we really just who we believe we are?
Yeah.
If we believe we're someone that can handle pressure
True.
and get things done, we handle pressure. If we believe this is the thing that stops me forever, doesn't it stop us? Or if we believe this is the obstacle that's making me stronger, let's go get it.
it usually happens the way you thought.
The way you think, right?
Yeah.
So that's my thoughts on
I
if
love
I
that.
could give advice to my 20-year-old self, this is exactly what I'd say. Yeah, you got a lot of failures coming. You got a lot of self-doubt.
You know, you talk a lot about the difference between having an employee mindset and an owner mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And I always, while reading that, it caused me an immense curiosity to know how you got to that, but also what that difference looks like. Like, what does an employee mindset look like different to how an owner mindset looks like?
Great distinction. Thank God for people who decide to go all in on a career, or you and I couldn't build what we built.
Yeah.
And especially if you provide a place where they can grow and have impact and escalate with raises and responsibilities.
Yeah.
So this isn't about an attack on that mindset. It's just showing the comparison. And I've thought about this a lot. And it doesn't mean what I share is fact. It's just my pattern recognition. The difference to me is time, because I believe that most of us start, and again, this is just my perception.
Yeah.
I think most of us start with a similar mindset, meaning you go into a career and say, I'm going to go in this. I am going to kick butt in this job. They're going to notice me. They're going to see me. They're going to promote me. I'm going to be a manager. I'm going to run this. Someday maybe I even run this company.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, so many bigger companies are set up with such bureaucracy
100%.
that you get lost and your great idea becomes invisible. You finally get your shot to share it with somebody, but maybe your manager feels intimidated by you because you're a badass and I'm not. I'm not going to share your idea, or I'm going to steal your idea. And what I think, and I know this is just one version, but what I think sometimes that I can be innovative, I can be creative, I'm going to express myself. I think it starts there, and slowly, without realizing, a door shuts, a door shuts, a door shuts. And then all of a sudden somebody goes, well, this is what it is. I'll get a 3% raise each year. I'll get a little bit more in my 401k and I'll deal with it. Those people come to Tony and I when they're 55 years old and said, I just wasted 30 years of my life. Help me find me again. And the only reason I say it is because that's our passion. Tony doesn't have to work a day in his life. I don't have to work a day in my life. I feel blessed.
God. Yeah.
We're at a place where we have so many people we want to help. How can we not? I mean, Tony and I were talking the other night. I'm like, I still work like I'm broke. And I'm like, no, I work like I'm broke and I owe the mob money. Like I owe bad people money. Like that's how hard we work, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I love that so much. And you don't have to work. It's not like, exactly.
I'm probably for the last decade, right?
God.
So I only say that because when you see somebody who put their dreams and goals on pause, on hold, it comes back around and hits you. And that's why we share with people. I'm not saying you get rich overnight, but you got to live into your full potential. So I feel the difference is career feels a little safer.
Yeah.
It's got some guardrails. You can't fall off the cliff, right? It's like that meme. It's like the little kid roller coaster. You hope it goes well, but it continues to go up.
Yep.
But that time in a career sometimes squashes who you are. And maybe today I get to remind you that you're a badass, that you have something inside of you. You're meant for more, and you should explore it. On the other side, the creator, the innovator, the entrepreneur mindset, the owner mindset, you train yourself to be okay without guardrails. You know that it's not the little kid roller coaster. It's the scary one that goes, I got this. There's no problem. It's all going to crash. How can I do this? COVID came. We're done. Oh, no. We switched. We're virtual. We got this. We could do good. No. Nobody wants to watch virtual. Like, it's like, how many times in your career, let me ask you, were you like, we finally got this. We are dialed. And 3 months, 6 months later, you're like, what am I doing? Why did I take this debt? Why am I doing this thing? Nobody's going to come. How many times have you experienced it?
It's more than I can tell you.
Okay.
And specifically one that was after we had finally made it after 13 years, we were freaking killing it. And then the next song came out and nothing happened. And I felt like we were going down. It wasn't really going to shit, but I thought it was.
Yeah.
And that's the anxiety.
But here's the cool part.
Everything kind of.
I got a question for you. Now that you've gone through it, could you go through it again?
1,000%.
Would you stress the same?
No.
Okay, it's
especially knowing what I know now.
So the part I want to share is an owner mindset, an entrepreneur mindset. You start having the nerve to go after your dreams And whether they win or lose, you win. Because right now, if it happened again, you'd know how to pivot. You'd know how to think.
Yeah.
You'd be like, hey, we're good. We've been here. We got this.
It's true.
But if you never experience it, it all seems scary. You got the guardrails up, and the more you're in the career, the guardrails go up higher. Now, if you're in a great career, like I say this, people, I love my team members. If you're in a career where you feel like you could be yourself, you can grow and you love it. And if you love it, don't feel bad for that. I'm talking about those that are in a job that wake up every day and go, oh, all right, I'll get through it.
Yeah.
And you wake up, you're 55 and you're like, what the hell happened? Kids are out of the house. And I'd rather get to I'd rather get to the end of your life and be like, maybe I didn't get as successful as I want, but I lived it.
Yeah.
I squeezed the juice out of all of it, right?
I love that.
So the more you put yourself out there, and I want to tell you for your success, the more you take on bigger challenges, the deeper you fail, the quicker you're going to get to success.
I love that.
People think as you get more successful, you don't have as many problems. They get bigger.
Yeah.
Right? And what I always say is if I'm in a room with successful people, I know the most successful person in the room solves bigger problems than everybody else. So here's something that'll blow your mind. Maybe. Take one thing from this podcast. Take this. What if you didn't wish for less problems? What if you wished to have the ability to handle bigger ones? Something goes wrong in a boardroom and it's like, what do we do? Walk in. I got this one. Give it to me.
Yeah.
Right?
I love that.
The building's on fire, but he's running out. I'm running in to make sure we got everything done. I solve problems. I don't say that out loud, but that's one of my inner self beings. It's one of my people. I am the problem solver. Give me something no one else can figure out. Everyone else is scared of. I will tackle it. And I've just trained myself to think that way. So when everybody's like, what are we going to do? I'm like, just give it to me. Like, what do you need help? I don't need help. Give it to me. I got it. How much respect do you get when everybody's scared and you go, I'll take it?
Oh, it's immense. But also the level of confidence you need to have, I think also helps the problem solving. I feel like
of course.
That,
and it only comes through a muscle. So solve a little bit bigger problems this year. Solve bigger problems next year. By year 5, be the problem solver that nothing can do. Because every time you solve a problem, think about the things you were most scared of. On the other side of it, was it that big a deal?
It wasn't.
Was your 3.5-year-old okay?
So yeah, it's so funny that you said that, because I was the first thing that came to my mind was my son.
Is my son okay?
Yeah, when he got his first fever.
A hurricane come through and knocked down your house, and all your money was in a bank, and the bank burned down, or whatever. Yeah. You'd be like, "Oh my God, my life's over." Your 3-year-old comes in and says, "Hey, Dad." You're like, "I'm good.
We're chill.
I'm good. Yeah. I can start over." Right?
That's so.
And when you start realizing that, your whole world changes.
It's so true. I just feel like also, and it happened to me, seeing that success felt like super complicated. You know, it did feel like it was this ginormous kind of mountain that I had to climb. And I feel like that does happen to so many people, that it feels like it's way more complicated. It's complicated to be successful, but in the mind.
Can I stop you for 1 second?
Yeah.
Remember what you were going to say.
Mm-hmm.
Said it's complicated to be successful. Of course it is.
Yes.
But let me ask you something. What would be more complicated for you? Figuring out success, living into your dreams, failing, succeeding, or giving up, getting to the end of your life and you never expressed yourself? What would be more complicated?
No, 1,000%.
Imagine getting to the end of your life, whatever your beliefs are, and you meet your maker. And you said, hey, I took the safe path. I was going to try the music thing. That's my dad's thing. I went up and down. I had a hit song. Next one bombed. I don't need that roller coaster. So, we opened up a restaurant and, life was good. We raised their son. And could you imagine if your maker played you a video of the man you could have been?
No, that would
with your studio in the other room, jamming with people you love, and the singer that you admire the most shows up out of the blue one day, and you jam and make this hit, and you watch all this. And you're like, oh my God. And you knew all the complexity in between.
Yeah.
Which one would you choose? Did you choose a safety net?
No, I would go for the one that I hadn't.
Even though it was a roller coaster, the adult roller coaster. If that was the case, you got to the end of your life and your maker gave you one wish, what would it be?
To do it.
Do it again, right?
Yeah.
You know what I tell everybody? Wish granted.
Do it.
You're here today.
Yeah.
You can make the decision today. What do you need to say no to today? What do you need to say yes to today? The thing you've been saying no, you need to say no to for 5 years. What if today you just go, life's too short. No, I'm not doing this anymore. Or yes, I'm starting my music career. Yes, I'm jumping in. Yes, I'm going to start the business. Yes, to creativity. In a moment, we can make that decision.
That's awesome.
And all you're doing is you're really doing a good deed for your future self. That's really all you're doing.
I love that.
Because regret's heavy. Regret is heavy.
It seems almost like it's more important to take action. And I know you've talked about this a lot, which is like the importance of taking action and then finding clarity, and then finding and figuring it out. I was very curious to ask you if you thought that maybe that's how finding your purpose also looks like. If you think that maybe we need to take action and then figure out what that why is or what your purpose is. How do you think that looks like that?
You want the cheat code?
I do. Please.
The absolute cheat code. This is one we're not taught in school. This is why my 19-year-old daughter's with me here today. And I love she's working with me because she gets to see real life stuff. You know what the cheat code is? Find something you think you like. And then find somebody who's amazing at it. And model what they do.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing that stops all of us is the word how. I want to go into the new business. How? How do you start? Do I start with an LLC? Do I start with hiring people? Do I start with marketing? Do I start with a bank account? Is it an S Corp or an LLC? Do I need to raise money? How? I'll stay where I'm at. What if you just find somebody who has already done it and just see what they've done? Like think of, I always talk about the rainforest in Brazil as a joke because I watched a documentary on it, right?
Yeah.
And it's crazy how thick it is and dense it is and how many things can kill you in it.
Yep.
Right? So here's what I'll say. Here's the cheat code. It's really simple. And you should write this down or think through it. Model proven practices. What does that look like? I use this simple analogy. Imagine going to Brazil and there's a 20-mile trek through the dense rainforest. But on the other side is this old, indigenous, beautiful place. It's got rivers and mountains and everybody wants to go there. It's spiritual. You feel amazing when you get there. You know how most people approach it? They get to the thing and it's 20 miles that way. Great. And they run in the woods. Yeah. They get bit by a spider. They fall into a pit. They don't know where to sleep. They run back out and go, that is crazy. I am never doing that. I'm never going to see this beautiful place. But what if you looked down a little bit and there was a guy and a girl there and they'd been walking those woods for 20 years and they had the exact map. This is where it's halfway point is where you sleep. It's really safe. It's a cave. This is where you can get some fresh water. Avoid this because there's snakes in this area. Avoid these spiders. What if you just walked over and paid $5 for the map? It's the cheat code.
Yep.
So you still need the hunger to get through the woods.
Yeah.
You still need the drive. You still need not to quit. Those are just, you still need courage.
Yeah.
Courage is a big muscle. You got to move forward. But who's going to win? The person that's modeling proven practices with the map or the person that just runs into the wilderness?
They could eventually probably make it. They could
get there.
Yeah.
And they're going to come out the other side beat up. Welts on them. You know what I mean?
It's true.
So the part is investigate the areas where you think you want to go. Find somebody who's living success in that area and start modeling them. And just by through their lens, you could say, I would love to be where they are. I know it took them 20 years to get there, but could it take me 5 if I just started off where they left off? And the fact of the matter is true. That's the industry and the business Tony and I are in. We just want to model proven practices. We've done it in real estate. We've done it in health. We've done it, Tony's done it with finances. We have an AI company where we're just interviewed the top 50 people. We got the map and now we give the map to people. Like,
that's great.
We're not the smartest people in the world. We just find the best in the world at what they do and model them, right? If I got through the woods in a day, you're like, you're the smartest guy in the world, Dean. It took us 5 days and we got beat up. It's like, not that smart other than I got the map.
That made me smart. Yeah, exactly.
I'm smarter because I got the map.
Yeah. And how do you know who to learn from? Like what especially right now that there's so much freaking noise. There's so much happening. What do you think is the way to, I guess, to identify who's the correct person to learn from? And to get that information from and to model or et cetera.
Here's one thing that I'll share. We have access to everybody online, right? That's true. You can investigate and find people. The truth is I would find people that are actually doing it. They have a great history. They're not 22 in front of a rented jet. Yeah. Now, I'm not being mean, but there's just a lot of that. There's studios that have fake planes.
Jets, yeah.
You know what I mean?
True.
Like, I've owned my own plane for 10 years. I've never posted online once. When we leave here today, we drive to my plane, we fly home, and there's not a human that even knows I have one, except for now that I just said it up.
Well, you just,
But
yeah.
what I'm just saying, like, find someone who has depth and breadth if you're going to model them. But a lot of times it's in your community, it's in your world. And here's what I know. I've mentored people a lot along the way. Sometimes 17-year-old kids, 25-year-old. When someone reaches out and says, Mr. Graziosi, I admire what you do. I think I want to go in your business. How would I start? When I feel that, I want to do everything in my power. A lot of times there's somebody in your community. My first mentor was a guy 20 years older than me. The reason I went into real estate is because he was 20 years older than me. He lived in 30 years older than me. He lived in my little town. He was the most successful person in my town. He was happily married. My parents weren't happily married. My parents were broke. This guy was happily married and owned a ton of real estate. I literally saw him at a deli one day, and his name was Joe Noto. Noto is his last name. I said, Mr. Noto, God, you've done so many great things. Could I ever have lunch with you and just tell me? Just ask him for lunch. My curiosity, I met that man 20 times. And then I became friends with his friend, Dominic Affuso, who was another real estate investor. And I just saw the way he approached things. And I learned so much from these guys. So much from them. And they couldn't wait to help. And there are people waiting to help you, but I showed interest. I listened intently. I looked at them like this, like I'm looking at you. I wrote down every word they said. When they said, go do this, the next time I meet them, I did that plus 10 other things. You can't be the person that just wants success, ask somebody and then go back and say, well, I didn't do that thing, or it didn't work so good. They like teaching me because I did everything they said and more.
I love that.
Cheat code.
I adore that because it does. For example, if I translate to the music world, right?
Yep.
I had the blessing to have my dad always, right? And that for me was a ginormous inspiration, but also a great roadmap as to how to do things. A lot of people ask me either, oh, is it an advantage or a disadvantage to have a father that is the size in terms of success like your dad? And the truth is that it's a ginormous advantage because I had a roadmap on how to do it successfully, but also without being able to, without sacrificing happiness and without sacrificing my family and etc. So,
Are you listening? My daughter's sitting over there.
Yeah,
See?
It's awesome. It really is. However, what happened to me that psychologically and in terms of mental health, because I didn't have the tools, I went into the industry always almost like on negative 30,000 seaters, so like I went in, and whenever I sold my first, I went on sale with my first concert. If I sold 100 tickets, that was someone without the
dad.
Exactly. My dad was already, by the time I was born, selling 30,000 tickets per venue.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like I go out and I'm already comparing
the bar was
the
so
100
high.
to, and so someone that doesn't have a father like mine, when they sell 100 tickets, it's 100 freaking tickets. Crazy.
Yeah, that's such good feedback.
So it has,
right? Because you don't realize is your dad had 100 ticket sales before you were born.
Exactly.
Right. You
but I
forget
didn't
about
see
that.
that.
You didn't see that.
I didn't see
That's
that. I
really
went
good
straight
feedback.
to the 30,000 because I was born into that. But it did take my dad 10 plus years to get to the 30,000 people.
Yeah.
And though I knew he had struggled, I never saw it. So it was always like, yeah, you struggled, whatever, but for me,
such a good point.
It was hard to actually accept it. I always knew he struggled, but knowing and seeing how he struggled and accepting it and seeing that I went through the same thing, that was a whole thing. But it's not about me; it's about you.
No,
today.
I love hearing this. No, please. I get it, and I think being a parent, being a dad of 4, that's really good feedback because, especially when your dad probably didn't start with a silver spoon in his mouth.
Not at all.
Probably struggled in a way. And I'd bet to say the more you know about that, and as you become a dad, maybe if you have more children, you have one now, you start looking through a different lens, and you start looking as like, my dad did this when he was having kids, raising all these kids, when he didn't have a father like mine.
Yep.
And you start looking at it and you go, wow, maybe you empower more of the advantage side without beating yourself up for not hitting his numbers yet.
1000%.
Because the fact of the matter is, if you follow his model, you'll probably be doing the same thing at a certain time in your life, or you find something that fills your heart even more. I have a dear friend, Trent Shelton, and he's a great speaker, one of the best speakers. We put him on our stage all the time. It's like going to church listening to this guy.
Cool.
But he played in he was best high school football player, went to college, was one of the best, went to the NFL, and then just couldn't make it in the NFL. Tried, bounced around, got cut, went to another team, got cut 5 or 6 times.
Wow.
And the reason I'm telling you this is because when he got cut the last time, he thought, my life is over. Since 5 years old, all I ever wanted to do is be in the NFL. I know nothing else. His roommate got cut in the same month he did, and his roommate killed himself. And his life switched in that moment. And now he's one of the most watched motivational speakers in the world.
Wow.
And he said, I wouldn't trade this for the NFL ever. This is what I was put on this earth to do. And sometimes music is your thing, but you might find an offshoot of music where maybe you never put 40,000 people in a room, but you might be happier because you managed 5 people who are putting people in the room and you have the wisdom to do. I don't know. I'm just making this up.
No.
But if you're open and let your heart not be comparison, if you let your heart go, I'm taking what my father did and I'm taking it to another level. What I've taught my kids since we were little is that we are a relay race. This family's a relay race. I'm running the first leg of the relay race. And if you want, I'll hand you the baton. If you want to run as hard as I did. If you don't want to run as hard as, I'll help you out. If you want to do something else. But if you want to take it to another level, I'm not doing trust funds and you get money at 30 years old and 40 years old. But if you want to hustle and work, I'll hand you the baton. And I think when we look at it that way, my daughter and my other kids, they might run a different race, but as long as they run as hard as I did or somewhat as hard and find happiness, I don't want just success. I'm happy too. But I think if we look through that lens, then you could start saying, hey, I could just take this baton and I might be in a little different direction, but I'm gonna find my significance.
I love that. You know, when I was studying for today, obviously right now you have an amazing, I think it's actually, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's the most important AI education event in history so far, right?
Yeah, the last one we did, we had 650,000 people.
Are you kidding me?
650,000. Actually, 648,000. I don't want to exaggerate.
Yeah. No, that's not exaggerating. That's not exaggerating at all. Number one, congrats on that.
Thank you.
I think it's called the AI Advantage Summit.
Yes.
And I want to go into AI because it's such an interesting topic, especially someone that's in music. There's such controversy within the AI and art, or whatever. But I have a lot of questions regarding that, so I want to make sure that I'm tackling it. Sure. And number one is asking you how you are personally using AI and what you feel, why you think it's important for people to learn about AI.
Okay, so I'm going to start here. Not that everybody wants to hear about AI, but I'm going to tell you have to, especially if you're an artist, if you feel like it's going to take away your humanity, if it's going to replace you. There are weird emotions that go on.
Yeah.
There just are. But the fact of the matter is, and please hear me, it's here, it's coming, you can't avoid it. And avoiding it will just widen the gap. And what if I told you in the next 5 minutes, you'll realize that AI can make you more human, right?
Okay.
You're already in a screen. Everybody's already in a screen. So think about, I've used this analogy before, but I'm going to use it again. In the 1800s, if a farmer planted an acre of corn, in other parts of the country, they use different things of acre, just a plot of land. Yeah. It took about 40 to 50 hours to plant an acre of corn by hand. When a tractor came along, the newest technology, you could plant an acre of corn in 30 minutes.
That's great.
If you didn't have a tractor, could you stay in business?
Compared to the rest of the people? No.
No, because I don't care how much you work. 40 hours, the other person could do what? 100 acres? Yeah, right. You can't, it's compounded. You buy time back, but it's not just time, it's leverage. Think about when the internet came back. There was a lot of people that said, no, the internet's crazy. It's going to go bad. It's going to end the world.
Yep.
Would you do business with somebody today if you said, hey, why don't you email that over? And like, oh, I'm not online.
Yeah, it'd be
How do I
extremely
get
weird.
how do I get the contract?
Yeah.
I don't even like FedEx. I'm just going to put a stamp on this thing. I'll mail it to you. Have it in about 12 days. You'd be like, team, don't do business with them.
No, it'd be impossible.
Impossible. We are the first generation to go no AI to AI. So it feels odd.
Yeah.
It's change. It's fast-paced change. It feels uncomfortable, but you couldn't be in business if you didn't have a tractor. Couldn't be in business if you didn't have electricity. Couldn't be in business if you didn't have the internet. You're not going to be able to be in business and compete if you don't get comfortable with AI. Now, with that said, you're still like, it's creativity and all that stuff. What if, I think right now in my life, I am probably 3 times more productive than I've ever been. And if you just thought of it this way, if you got 15 hours a week, I'm just going to wave a magic wand. You got 15 hours back a week right now. Just magic wand wave, you got 15 hours. Isn't it personal to all of us? The first thing you might have thought about is going to the park with your 3.5-year-old.
100%.
The second thing you might have thought about is, I'm going to get to writing again. Because I've been too much in the business of running it. I'm too much in the construction and the building of the studio. I'm going to write a song. I don't know. Maybe it's with your significant other and you're like, no, I need date nights again.
Love that.
I don't know. If you got 15 hours, what are some of the things you would do?
That.
Right.
You just,
okay.
Yeah, that.
So I want everybody to hear that. It's personal. Some people might be watching right now and go, I finally launched that business. I'd unlock my creativity. What if I told you that literally AI is the greatest time saver that's ever been invented and it doesn't cost as much as a tractor? So if you think about, you should never replace the human part of you. You should never replace the passion of writing a song. You should never replace the passion of how you play, how you sing and all that. It can never replace you. But done wisely, if you audit all the things you do on a regular basis, I would bet my life in less than 4 weeks, automating, accelerating, augmenting, letting AI do the boring, the mundane, the repetitive. I would bet my life in 4 weeks, I could show you to get 15 hours a week back. Would you look at AI differently?
1,000%.
And would it actually make you more human?
Yes, because it would allow me to do more of the human stuff that I want to do.
I think it's actually, listen, you can look through the lens that the world is over. And you can look through the lens that AI is going to cure cancer and help us not do the crappy work. You can have one or two extremes. Or you could just be realistic and say, whatever happens, I am not in control of that. But I am going to embrace change. I am going to allow this to buy my time back. And then the last thing, the reason we do these big events is everybody's so overwhelmed because the big companies and all the YouTube videos are just sharing the next thing. You need a Clawbot, and you need a iMac Mini, and you need an agent that does all this thing. You're like, I can't even keep up. And then your brain shuts down. What Tony and I, through pattern recognition, we know that there's one path that could buy you back time. The other stuff will come. But we want to hold people's hand, embrace the change, get over the fear. Let's take a little journey to get you going, because once you get in, you realize the fear goes away, and then you're brave enough to try the next thing. So I'd love to say that, it was the greatest AI event. We're doing another one April 23rd.
Yep.
It's not that we're AI experts or the smartest people in the world. Just Tony and I collectively, 77 years of pattern recognition. We interviewed some of the best, and we just found the paths that are really simple to get yourself in it so you can be AI literate, AI capable, and mostly AI confident. Because when you do, you become bulletproof in your career. Like Tony always says, AI is not going to replace you. Somebody using it will.
That made me laugh. I read that in...
That's a Tony line.
I read that and I thought it was really... I thought it was hilarious just because I love the idea of it. Because the truth is that when we hear AI, it reminds me and reminds us of all these movies that are scary, where the AI kind of takes over.
Yep.
Could happen. It could happen.
The truth matters, it could.
Yeah, it really could.
But if I focus on that, I'll be frozen.
For sure. And I think that in music, thinking of it from my perspective.
Yeah, artists will all be gone. They're going to write songs. They're going to sing better.
That I guess is that, it's just that fear. I feel like artists are afraid that they're going to be replaced. In my personal opinion, I still have not gotten afraid of the idea of it, that I will be replaced. I guess my my fear always was a little bit more towards the idea that it wasn't going to be as fun to make music anymore, and the magic was going to be gone. It's that moment that for me, it's my favorite moment, which is creating the music and that process. And it's the most human moment, where you're being vulnerable and expressing something. I guess my fear is inside there being lack of connection. Because when I write a song, at the end of the day, it's me being vulnerable and saying, hey, I live this. Yeah. And then there's other people around the world that say, wow, I connect with that because I've lived that too. Can I
ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
I'm asking. I'm not telling you.
No.
Because you're in the music industry. When I was young, it was the first generation of the boy bands.
Okay.
Right? I was actually older, but like
you saw it.
Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. When that came out, I was older than them. And I watched teenagers go nuts, right? But have you ever seen a boy band last for 30 years? Like here's what I'm telling you. When it came out, I never wanted to listen to the music because I knew that there was a Ron Perlman or somebody like that who wrote the music, produced the music, put them in a studio, got 6 good-looking guys that know how to sing, and it was so fabricated that it made me want to listen to Billy Joel and Elton John and people who sang through the divorce they went through or the pain they went through. And it's like, it made me go deeper and respect artists more. Now, I'm not knocking the boy bands and all that stuff. Please, no. But I would frame it differently. I'd say there's going to be a buzz of AI songs written and people are going to, AI voice is going to sing some and a couple are going to hit top. And then people are going to go, I'm listening to a computer. I want to listen to someone with soul. I actually would think in my head is, there's like anything in life, there's going to be this shift and they're going to get sick of it. And people are going to want to be in proximity again. They're going to want to be at concerts. They're going to feel the music. They're going to want to know the pain you went through, not some machine that wrote something about pain. I would think, hey, if I can weather the storm, I'm going to be here for the next raise. Like, what is the downside of thinking that?
No, I think that's awesome. Yeah, I think that it will kind of just make people appreciate it more.
I got to tell you one more story. Wayne Dyer. I don't know if you know who Wayne Dyer is.
I do not.
Okay, Wayne
Dyer.
Now
I will find out.
Wayne Dyer, you got to fall in love with Tony and the stuff he does. Wayne Dyer, a little bit older than us. Wayne Dyer is more of a spiritual version. Really deep thinker, soft voice. If you listen to his audios, great guy I listen to Wayne about once a year. I'll geek out on 2 or 3 of his books, right? So Wayne Dyer, in his whole life, gets diagnosed with leukemia. You gotta really hear me on this one. For those of you worried about AI and how to think about it.
Yeah.
It's diagnosed with leukemia. And I'm listening to he did this live. And he says, when he first got it, he's like, why did I get leukemia? It's because I was an alcoholic when I was younger. I drank too much. I didn't take care of my body. I didn't eat right. Maybe I drank too much coffee. So he was going through this in the morning, waking up. Why? Leukemia. This is going to ruin my life. He said, but then I lived this life. He goes, one day I woke up, I look in the mirror and all he shifted was, he's like, you know what? I'm actually going to be the guy that kicks leukemia's ass. And he said, just like that, everything changed. He woke up in a good mood. He looked in the mirror. He said, I remember saying, I looked in the mirror and go, hey guy, today's the day we beat leukemia hard. We beat it. And he said, my whole life shifted. I gained the weight back. I got color in my face. Now he died a couple of years later of a heart attack. He didn't die of leukemia.
Oh, wow.
But that story just always, when I think about, because we can all stack what's wrong, what could go wrong, could steal the music, could trigger a nuclear war. We could think about that. And if you do, are you going to move forward? No, you're frozen. You're scared, right? But if I think, hey, we're going to figure this out. Humans always do. Hopefully it'll cure cancer. Hopefully it'll take my music, maybe make it a little bit sharper, but I still get to deliver it. Maybe it'll help me write that hit song. Maybe so many people will get sick of digital voices that concert tickets are going to explode by 5. I'd rather just think that. You still got the leukemia, but one is, why'd I have this? My life is over. One is like, I'm the guy that beats leukemia. So we get to choose. And I would just rather choose that path no matter what happens.
I agree 1,000%. It's awesome because I feel like people in the midst of everything that we're living right now, and AI is becoming so, and AI is, it's a very, it's like a loud topic right now. It's something that that's creating a bunch of conversation. I see it a lot in my industry. Obviously, I'm sure everybody sees it. Something that I love that you're saying, I think it's going to help us buy back time. But also, because we, in this podcast, talk a lot about purpose and talk a lot about the why. How do you think AI could help serve purpose and help serve being in your personal life?
Yeah, it's the great equalizer. In my opinion, it's a great equalizer. There are so many of your followers, your students, people listening to this podcast that have a dream of doing something. And in the past, it's hiring people or maybe raising money, or somebody's got to lend you money to do it. You can go so far, so fast. You could, I don't want to future pace it so much that it freaks people out. But in just a few weeks, you could have AI working for you, helping you with the foundation of the business, helping you structure it, even having somewhat like virtual employees doing things for you. Like, I think if you embrace this one step at a time, you can't go, the part that's freaking people out is like, most people are in first grade when it comes to AI, and everything they see is a PhD, and they wonder why it's overwhelming them. Could you imagine?
It's true.
Imagine taking somebody in second grade and said, instead of third grade, we're going to go for your master's degree. Right?
You're right.
And then the kid comes home like, Dad, you're like, why are you so freaked out? It's like, I didn't, right? So the thing is, and this is the journey we help take people. It's like, you got to go to second grade and then fifth grade and then eighth. And then someday you'll be at your master's and you're like, this is easy.
Love it.
Right? But here's why I think it can help. Because it not only saves time, it allows you to think better. One of the things we teach is how to get AI to know you. Right now, most people use AI. It's like having an employee that you hire. That's a great employee, but you give them no context. They don't know the music you like. They don't know your life story. Don't know your purpose. Don't know your constraints. Don't know what your 6-month goals are, 1-year goal. Don't know where you failed in the past, where you've succeeded in the past. You just hire a great employee and go, hey, let's make our business go a little better this month. Thanks. Good. Bye. They'd walk in the other room like, now, if they're great, they might give you a great generic answer. Hey, we can do better marketing and we'll do 3 songs a month, not 1 a year, whatever. And you're like, that was kind of a crappy answer. Help me a little.
Yeah.
But imagine if you spent hours teaching that great employee, that super smart employee that has access to everything that's ever written in the history of the world, and said, hey, I want you to help me write a business plan for the next year of my life. But let me tell you, this is where I've been. This is who my father is. This is what I've done. These are my values. This is what we stand for. This is the studio we have. This is the podcast we have. These are our best episodes. These are the best songs I've ever written. And you just loaded all that context.
I love that.
And then when you ask, it says, hey, let me just tell you what I think your best plan is. Smarter, cleaner, faster thinking, upside, downside. That's a subtle shift you can learn in an hour. In an hour, you go from a generic AI that gives you a little bit better answers to like the smartest business partner you could ever have in the history of the world.
And you use it like that as well?
It's exactly what we teach. It's what we're going to teach at our event.
That's awesome.
That's what we teach at our event. In an hour, you're like, this is, I'm in a new world.
That's great. Is there a specific tool in AI that you recommend that is one that I could personally use, for example?
I would pick one. Pick Chat, Claude. I've been using Claude a lot lately. I started with Chat. Claude, it's just you want to do a little test?
Yeah.
Today when we leave, go to Claude, open up an account, $20 a month or whatever it is, and just talk to it for 45 minutes. Put it on record, hit the record button and just say, this is who I am. This is what I want. This is my goal. This is my life, my personal life, my time. It's how much I spend time with you. This is where I've succeeded before. This is where I've failed before. I'm really good at the creative side. I suck at operations, but I know if I had a system, I could scale. I hire good people. I have some good people, some people and then I hire some people that aren't that good and I'm afraid to let them go because they become like family.
The cool thing is that you can be honest because you don't feel like you're,
And then when people say, do you really want to tell the internet all about that? It's like, are you on social media? They already know.
They already know.
They already know.
For sure.
They already know. like when people no, and the other thing, nobody really cares.
No one cares.
Does anybody really care what you're like?
It's true.
So here's what I want you to do. Everybody watching, do this today. Okay. Talk to it for 45 minutes. If you want, go on, get the account, ask it a question. Hey, I'm in the music business. What should I do in the next 12 months? take that answer, park it, talk to it for 45 minutes, tell everything about you, and say, hey, I'm in the music business. What should I do? You will freak out.
Really?
You will
I promise you I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it on the flight tonight.
It'll be the smartest business partner you've ever had in your life. You will use it every day. You will be twice as productive by Wednesday of next week.
I am so excited.
Yeah.
I really am. I'm grateful for you, man.
Oh, thank you.
You don't understand what it means to me, what it means to us as a team to be able to be surrounded by people like you. You speak about the power of proximity, and seeing my life and seeing that God has allowed me to sit with someone like you is insane. We come from different worlds. The odds of you and I being in these two chairs are crazy. Yet, the fact that God allowed us to be able to sit here for me to learn from you, I know is not a coincidence. And number one, I'm grateful. I'm also...
I really enjoyed this. Honestly, deeply enjoyed it.
I'm so glad that you did.
You have an incrable energy. It just allowed me to be me. No rehearsal. No, I didn't read anything before. But
I love that
it's because the energy you brought.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you. Familia de The Why Project, los amo. Gracias por estar viendo. Si les gustó lo que vieron y lo que escucharon, suscríbanse. Y les recomiendo que le hagan caso a Dean, que es un tipazo y que tiene demasiado por contar, mucha información. Y si quieren aprender más sobre AI, por favor vayan a el Advantage Summit, el AI Advantage Summit, que sucede el 23 de abril. No se lo pierdan, es gratis y van a poder aprender muchísimo de él y de toda la gente que más sabe sobre AI. Los quiero y nos vemos.